Today we will face our module 1. We will deal with innovation, its main definition and key concepts. And then we will see module 2 with innovation in the culture of the company's organization. To be specific, we will face some topics related to innovation and to its definition and in what ways innovation can be declined for the benefit of modern businesses. And then we will study the impact of innovation in organizational contexts. So how to innovate the arrangement of companies by encouraging the evolution of skills and staff motivation. Welcome to the Master of Ascheri Academy, the Master in Innovation Management. I hope you will find this course rich, enjoyable, and exciting. About me, I am Claudia Tarabu. I am a doctoral researcher in business administration at the University Nettuno in Rome. Moreover, I'm a research and teaching assistant at University Luis Guido Carli in Rome. Professionally speaking, I'm a certified innovation manager. I am a certified project manager, and I am a licensed master practitioner in neuro-linguistic programming. So for the module 1, we will study innovation, its definition, and key concepts. I want to begin our course by showing to you a slide which entails the accelerating growth in technology, so in technological innovation. Because the message behind this slide is very important for understanding the relevance of innovation nowadays. In fact, we can see that from the 15th century to the 20th century, we had little innovation, few innovations, like for technological innovations, I mean, like printing press, the telescope, the steam engine, the telegraph, the light bulb, the telephone, and the invention of the car. But after the mid-20th century onwards, we assisted to an exorbitant acceleration in technology with all the changes that we are still experiencing nowadays. So we assisted to the man on moon with a space shuttle, entrepreneurship, and so on. We assisted to word professor, to the first Apple Mac, to Windows, for example, to the introduction of the World Wide Web, to the invention of cell phones, of hybrid cars, for example, of search engines like Google, of the introduction of some social media like Facebook, Twitter, and so on. We have today driverless car, 3D movies, and also 3D chips. So we have passed from a linear accelerating growth in technological innovations to an exponential rate of growth. So the message behind this slide is not just related to an historical reflection, because with this slide I want to give you a sense of the importance of innovation, especially today. We have to be well aware about the real accelerating growth of innovation, because we will continue exactly on this way, or maybe we will accelerate, we don't know. In this slide, I put some definitions, some basic definitions of innovation that we can read together. Innovation is the systematic practice of developing and marketing breakthrough products and services for adoption by customers. Innovation starts with an idea, addresses a market need, and creates value. And it's something that every company should be looking at. Innovation entails turning an idea into a solution that adds value from a customer's perspective. The application of ideas that are novel and useful always means innovation. For example, innovation is staying relevant, said Stephen Shapiro. Innovation is a great idea executed brilliantly and communicated in a way that is both intuitive and that fully celebrates the magic of initial concept. Another conception of innovation. And innovation is a feasible, relevant offering, such as a product, a service, a process, or an experience with a viable business model that is perceived as new and that is adopted by customers. Or maybe the introduction of new products and services that add value to the organization. I could have filled, I have to be sincere because I could have filled, for example, 10 slides with other definitions of innovation. And I'm sure that I would have found other correct and brilliant definitions of innovation, because all the definitions, for example, that we have encountered here are fair, are right. There are many ways of defining innovation, of declining innovation. So don't worry about the option to find just a unique way of defining innovation. Anyway, I want to give a message, a clear message, and also a brief message to be remembered. According to me, innovation is anything novel that creates value for organizations. So if we have to keep in mind some important concepts with today's lesson, certainly are the concepts of novelty, of value, and also the concept of organizations. But remember that there could be other definitions evenly fair, evenly right. Let's watch this explanatory video. This is a video of Friedrich Alexander Universität, and it entails innovation and another definition, another explanation. So let's watch it.
So let's begin with the
simple
definition. The word innovation comes from the Latin in and novare, which means to make something new, to create something new, to make change. That's not really getting us very far. So how about this instead for a simple working definition? Innovation is about creating value from ideas. Now, the value could be commercial value, making a lot of money out of a brilliant idea, like a smartphone. But it could also be social innovation, changing the world into a better place through applying good ideas to make something better. So let's look at a few examples. Take the motor car. Now, the motor car wasn't invented by Henry Ford. He and many others worked a long time during the early part of the 20th century, the late part of the 19th century, to create something which revolutionized the way we move around. Essentially, the ideas around the internal combustion engine and the various other components helped us move from horses as a form of transportation to cars, and opened up all sorts of social and technical and commercial possibilities.
Okay, so with this video, we can take other relevant, other meaningful concepts, and those are the concepts that I was discussing before. So the concept of idea and the concept of giving value to an idea, and maybe into turning an idea into something that is commercial. For example, as the author said, Henry Ford did not invent the motor car, but he was the guy that implemented the industry of motor car and that put motor cars in the market. So it's very important to remember this feature of innovation related to commercial value. Okay. In this slide, we observe a simple listing of main technological innovations, and we will see later that technological innovation is just a type of innovation. But anyway, if we want to resume a listing of technological innovations, we can talk about big data and analytics, cloud computing, cybersecurity, fintech, artificial intelligence and machine learning, hologram and virtual reality, additive manufacturing, blockchain, gamification, metaverse, autonomous vehicles, 3D printing, robots and cobots. For cobots, we intend collaborative robots mainly used by the the sector of the additive manufacturing. There are other technological innovations. Maybe you know more and you can add to this listing. This is just a simple idea of the main technological innovations that we use daily in our work. As we were saying, there are other types of innovation, because sometimes we are confused because we think that innovation is just something related to technology, but it's not true. There are other types of innovation. There are product innovations that entail development and launch of a new product. There are service innovations with a generation of a new service, for example. We have process innovations with improvement of any procedure used to build that product or service. We have the business model innovation, so new ways of conducting transactions between companies and customers, for example. We have the technological innovation, as we were saying, so new advancements that empower individuals, companies, and communities, and ameliorates our lives. We have the logistical innovation with the creation of a strategic distribution, with novel delivery services, with new storage centers, for example. We have marketing innovation, so commercial advertising mainly deployed on latest platforms and on novel social media, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and so on. And we have the organizational innovation, so practices, an ensemble of practices that improve productivity, products, services, and processes So when we talk about innovation, we are not just talking about technological innovation, because technological innovation is just one type of innovation. There are other kinds of innovation, as here illustrated. This is a simple map of innovation, because I want that you can also characterize the kinds of innovation that we were talking about. This map mainly distinguishes innovation respect the technological newness and also its impact on the market. But let's see what are these differences. The sustaining innovation is a significant improvement on a product that aims to sustain the position in an already existing market. For example, let's do an example. The entire market of smartphone that continuously releases applications, subscription services, and so on. All those are sustaining innovations, because the market of smartphone already exists. We have the disruptive innovation. So a new technology or a new business that enters into market and completely redesign the business model or disrupts the existing market. Let's do an example. Netflix. Netflix is a thorough example of disruptive innovation. When Netflix was put into market regarding video services, there was just Blockbuster, and with the insertion of Netflix, other companies went bankrupted, like, for example, Blockbuster. In fact, the video streaming services proposed by Netflix was a novel, but it's better to say a disruptive service. And in fact, we can also to remember that Netflix was responsible for bringing into a market also a new business model, the business model of the subscription economy. So Netflix disrupted the market with a new business model and a new type of service, the streaming video service. We have the incremental innovation, so another feature. For incremental innovation, we intend a gradual, continuous improvement on existing products or services. Another example that we can do is Gmail. When Gmail entered into market, there were other mail service providers. So the mail services already existed. But Gmail was born with the intent to ameliorate the email service delivery with new services, new products, and also with the scope to deliver emails in a fastly manner. Another feature of innovation is the radical innovation, so a technological breakthrough that transforms industry and often creates a new market. If we have to do an example, we can quote the Apple's iPhone. In fact, when the Apple's iPhone entered into market, we had other smartphones that filled the markets, that filled the stores, the electronic stores. But it was only with Apple's iPhone that we could find some interesting, novel, and some incredible services attached to the product. So thanks to the Apple's iPhone, the complete market of the smartphones became very popular and very common. Okay. Sometimes, as we were saying, when we think to innovate our business, innovate our company, we simply think that it's the case for choosing a new technology. And we have learned that the technology is just a type, it's just a tool of innovation. Anyway, we think that choosing a new technology is the better way to achieve innovation in our company. Instead, choosing a new technology is a very difficult pathway to follow that requires some practical insights, some practical movements to strictly follow. In fact, regarding the new technology, we have to observe its feature, for example, in order to meet the current requirements of our business. We have to be careful about the user friendliness. So we have to be careful if this new technological innovation displays a good user interface and a good user experience. We have to deal with the security issue. And today, as we know, it's very important to stress this concept regarding new technology. So this is a very important issue to solve. We have to pay attention to its flexibility, because this new technology has to put a solution for our organization that meets our business requirements. We have to study its interoperability. So we have to be very attentive in order to integrate this new technology with other tools that our staff, for example, daily uses. We have to be attentive regarding the innovation, the level of innovation of this technology tool that we are approaching. So how much investments and efforts are going to be necessary in order to adopt this new technology. We have to be careful also in its ecosystem. So this technology has to be strong and interconnected with our normal community made of users, of clients, of partners. We observe also the setup costs. So how much will it cost, this new technology, with its direct and indirect costs, in order to design, configure, and roll out our chosen technology. We pay attention to its license costs. So how much we need to pay every year in order to use this technology, to use legally this technology. And also the maintenance costs. So how much will it cost to support and adapt this technology over time? So even if we think that introducing a new technology in our business is the fastest way to deal with innovation, we have to rethink this idea, this conception. In fact, we will observe some differences regarding the life cycle. This is the specific life cycle of a technological innovation. This is a life cycle that lives from a basis of formed by user needs and technological awareness. So it starts with a brilliant idea involved in the technological sector. It's evident. Then we will pass to a stage of feasibility with all the costs involved, with all the cost-benefit analysis, for example, that are entailed with the innovation, with the technological innovation. Then we have a stage of testing, then a stage of pilot project, for example, with a prototype that we can put already into market. We have a concrete phase of deployment regarding mainly the technological domain, and also a stage of assessment and eventually of refinement. After this phase, we have a last stage of scaling. So our technological innovation is ready to be put into markets in order to scale and conquer the business and also other competitors. But as we see, the life cycle characteristic of innovation is a little bit different. For example, first of all, it does not follow a linear approach, like, for example, a normal project management method, for example. But if you observe carefully, you can see that there is an iterative characteristic, an iterative element that is very specific of the innovation life cycle. So we start from a stage of investigation, then we arrive to a phase of ideation and evaluation. Then we have a phase of design, build, and experiment. We have a first stage of test launch, for example, with normal beta tests that are proven in the internet domain, the software domain. I'm not an expert, but I think so. And then we have a full launch. After the full launch of the new innovation product or services or other kinds of innovation, we can decide to allocate resources to other projects or to devote resources in order to evolve with the first innovation and to refining it. The iterative element that I want to stress is the ensemble of feedback, data, refinement, reasoning, and new ideas that have to be rapidly incorporated again in the life cycle for having other successful starting for other projects. So the iterative element, the repetitive element is just in the ensemble of feedback, data, and new ideas. Even if it seems that the domain of innovation is beautiful, brilliant, and insightful, there are many risks associated with it. I list 3 risks, but there are many more. There are risks of much more expenditures. For example, innovation can be an extremely expensive undertaking. And because increased profits are not guaranteed, it can be a very risky activity. During the innovation process, you have to think about the cost weighted against the potential profits and make the best decision. So a very risky activity to undertake in our business. The risk of scheduling. Innovation takes time, and if you cannot implement your advancements quickly and efficiently, you can risk failing to meet your objectives and failing behind on your schedule, losing profits and the trust of customers, of investors and other stakeholders involved in our business. The third risk is the risk of instability. So innovative idea generation can be exciting, as we are learning, but if businesses are constantly making huge improvements, they may never find a stable identity, a stable market, and it will be very hard for customers, for investors, and for employees to be engaged, to keep up with all the changes. But I want also to give you some reasons why innovation is very important for businesses. Also, with this slide, I want to stress the concept that I wrote three main reasons why innovation is important, but I could have filled maybe 10 slides with reasons why we have to undertake innovation in our business. Innovation grows your business. Business growth means increasing your profits. So this is the main point that we have to recollect in our future endeavor. Successful innovation allows to add value to business so that you can increase your profits. If you do not innovate, your business will plateau, or in the worst case, it will die. The second reason is that innovation helps you stay ahead of the competition. So with globalization and a rapidly changing market, there are more competing businesses than ever before. So innovative thinking can help you predict the market and keep up with customer needs. The third reason is that innovation helps you take advantage of new technology. We have learned that technology is just a kind of innovation, but it's a very powerful kind of innovation. So we can take advantage of new technologies for process innovation, and in this way you will be able to optimize your business and surely gain a competitive advantage over your competitors. Let's watch this other helpful video. It's another video of the Friedrich Alexander Universität, and it explains how why innovation matters. Why innovation matters.
So why does innovation matter? Well, that's a big question. But let me begin by bringing on a couple of people who can give us some perspectives on it. First of all, this gentleman, Charles Darwin, who is famous for saying, amongst many other things, that it's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It's the one that is most adaptable to change. Survival is all about changing to cope with a changing world. Something that this lady understood very well. This is the Red Queen from that wonderful children's book, Alice in Wonderland. And there's a very famous scene in which she and Alice have been running really, really fast, and they finally pause for a moment, and Alice comments about how hard they've been running. And the Queen says, rather imperiously, that's a slow sort of country where you come from. Here, you see, it takes all the running you can do just to stay in the same place. If you want to get somewhere else, you must run twice as fast as that. Now, I think that very graphically summarizes the challenge we have today. The world is changing at an ever-increasing pace. If we simply stand still, we're going to get left behind. We have to innovate to stay up with that game. So, two different perspectives saying the same thing. Innovation is all about survival.
So another helpful video of this leader in innovation management, John Besant, he told us that innovation is a matter of survival. Reasoning about the teachings of Darwin, we can also add innovation is a matter of adaptation, for example. But today, as John Besant indicates, is just a matter of survival. Okay, so we have concluded our first module, and then we proceed with our second module. So in the second module, we will study innovation in the culture of the company's organization. So we have deepened our study, our detailed study of innovation, and now we want to drop the concept of innovation in the company's organization. We want to research about the culture, the right culture that a company must have in order to foster innovation in its organization. In this lesson, I want to be extremely practical. So let's do some statistics, very simple statistics. So don't worry, don't be scared. Okay, according to McKinsey 2010 Global Survey, only 4% of executives have not defined innovation as a strategic priority and have no plans to do so in the future. So according to this McKinsey Global Survey, we observe that around the 80% of managers define current business model as being at risk of being disrupted. So they are aware of the dangers related to the choice of not innovating in their companies. The 84% of them consider future success to be very dependent on innovation. So they are well aware managers regarding innovative issues. And only the 4% of the managers interviewed have not defined innovation, and not yet defined innovation as a strategic priority. So it's a very bizarre thing, because maybe we can imagine that 0% of executives have not defined innovation as a priority. But instead, there are some persons, very few persons, that still define innovation not as a strategic priority to undertake. Another slide regarding numbers. Booth and Company in the 2011 global report found a clear growth in both revenue, 11%, and EBITDA for the 22% in favor of the more innovative organizations. So earlier we have discussed about key points of innovation, significance of innovation, and definition of innovation, but now we have to be very practical. What are the benefits in undertaking innovation in our organization, in our companies? Then we can observe, according to this report, a clear growth in revenues with an augmentation of 11% and also an increase of 22% in earnings before interests, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, so profits. So it's just not something about beautiful words and beautiful concepts and creativity, for example, but it's something very practical that we have to put in a concrete stage in order to observe augmentation in revenue and in profits. These are innovation metrics. According to McKinsey Quarterly, the average organization uses 8 separate metrics to measure innovation. So we have depicted a chart in which these metrics have been ordered by frequency. In the left part, there's a O to indicate the output, and there's an I to indicate the input. So for the 16% of the average organization, the revenue growth from new products or services constitutes a metric in order to measure innovation in the organization. For the 13%, the metric considered is the customer satisfaction with new products. For the 10% of the organization interviewed, the innovation metric used is the number of ideas or concepts in pipeline. So in the way, on the verge of the development. For the 8% of the companies, the research and development spending as percentage of sales is another parameter in order to measure innovation. For 8% of companies, percentage of sales from new products constitutes a parameter to tangibly measure innovation. And for another 8%, the number of new products really launched onto markets constitutes a useful measure to measure innovation in company. So a useful parameter to measure innovation in company. We have seen so many benefits, so many positive aspects, and also positive numbers in order to sustain innovation in organization, in our daily business activities. But there are also obstacles for innovating, and we want to study these obstacles in order to render them more transparent, more clear, and intelligible if we want. Following the Boston Consulting Group, a global innovation survey of 2015, the top 6 obstacles for innovation performance would seem to be mostly related to choosing and executing the best ideas, but also to a certain extent the company culture. So there is an obstacle in developing innovation related to the company culture, and it is the element that we aim to change in order to have positive reflections. For the 42% of organizations interviewed, the too long development times is the most important reason for not innovating in their companies, in their institutions, we can say. For the 32% of the companies interviewed, the selection of the right ideas constitutes a reason for not innovating or for having troubles in innovation. For the 31%, we can remember this culture, this company culture, with a sake of risk aversion. We were saying that innovating is a very risky activity. So when in a company we find a risk-averse culture, we can be sure that the pathway for innovation is very difficult. For the 25%, we have a lack of coordination that is strictly associated with obstacles for innovating. For the 22%, the reason for not innovating in companies is not enough great ideas. As we can say, not enough knowledge of great ideas for dropping innovation in companies. So another problem. For the 20% of the companies interviewed, the problem relating to not innovation is the marketing innovation, because also marketing innovations are something very specific and very brand new, we can say. So there is a problem also related to marketing innovations that clearly need experts and professionals with a specific educational pathway. Let's watch this enlightening video. It's a video of McKinsey and Company. We will hear two business leaders that talk about their company culture. So it's very interesting.
Companies don't innovate, people do. And the reality is that each of our companies have to make an effort to foster an environment to promote innovation. We have something called the Ecom University that folks can go online and take courses. We have these technical practice networks that are run by people within the business.
At Bechtel, we've embraced the future. We've created a future fund that's at $60 million to be used to help us accelerate the use of innovation, to drive that culture of innovation, and to fund moving ourselves towards what we really think is happening. We're growing younger. Our demographics in the company have moved from a modal age in the high 50s to a modal age in the mid 30s. We're attracting young people into the industry. And we need to stop concerning ourselves about how we did work, and we need to facilitate and support a culture of how they will work. As we try to create that culture of innovation, the biggest barrier we have is our existing culture. The barriers, the roadblocks, the IT systems, the concerns of how things are structured and how we did do things is the biggest barrier that we have.
So two fascinating interviews to one president and one chief technology officer. In the first case, he talked about a university within the company. So a meaningful educational tool in order to foster innovation within the company. In the second case, we listen to the words of the Chief Technological Officer of Bechtel. He spoke about new ways of promoting innovation within companies, but it's very interesting because he talked also about barriers He said, firstly, that they have a budget of around $60 million for educational purposes. And then he said that they are fighting against an old culture of a static approach. So they are fighting against a culture that says we have always did this, we have done in this way, and this is I think a cognitive barrier that we can encounter in many others company today that are not still innovating, unfortunately, now. Let's move on. Okay. In this template, I have elaborated some simple images in order to give you a sake of which could be some factor of success for innovation. For example, measuring the innovation efforts in an holistically way and with a strong propensity for action, for doing something, for doing changes. The second success factor for innovation is the mentality of a need seeker. The greatest innovators are those that are constantly attentive to exigence from the market. They are constantly attentive to user needs, for example. So the greatest innovators have this mentality of a need seeker. Another factor of success is having aligned business and innovation strategy with a clear and adamant pro-innovation culture. Another success factor that we can purport in our lesson of today is the portfolio approach. Yes, we have to reason like venture capital, for example. We have to develop at the same time many innovation in the same company. This is very important because, as for example, another great leader of innovation, as Christensen said, 99% of innovation normally fail. So it's important not to devote all our resources, our internal resources, just to one kind of innovation. We have to develop a certain approach as portfolio management, as we can be, for example, venture capitalists in a certain sense. We have also to develop an ambidextrous organizational structure. It's a very important concept, but don't worry because we will face in the next slide. Another success factor is the open collaboration. So an open dialogue between management and employees. So no closed doors, no gates, and so on. It's important to openly and effectively collaborate in order to arrive to the objectives that the company wants to achieve. The seventh factor that I have indicated as a possible success factor is the project approval not dependent on future revenues. So when employees, when workers devoted their efforts on specific innovation, we have to recognize these efforts and give them a complete approval that is not dependent on future revenues. So is something that is not justly related to money, to future profits, and so on. Innovation has to be always accepted by management, with future revenues or not. In this slide, I have described the characteristic organizational structure that is mainly recognized as a successful element in the innovation pathway, in the innovative pathway. We have management, and then two symmetric units with the existing business and with the emerging business on the opposite side. These two units have other subunits, a subunit of sales, a subunit of marketing, and a subunit of research and development. So these units of existing business and emerging business are completely symmetrical and have exactly the same subunits. In a certain sense, we can think that this ambidextrous organizational structure can be a symbol of a greater separation in a company. But I would rather talk about a greater integration, because it's important that the existing business and the emerging business share the same, for example, access to finance, share the same access to the talents, the same access to resources. So according to the surveys, especially in some Harvard surveys that have been completed, this ambidextrous organizational structure seems to be the most appropriate form for purporting successful innovation in business. In this slide, I wanted to stress some modalities for business innovation, because sometimes the question arises in a very systematic and simple way. So in which way we have to innovate for the sake of our business? And I can answer to you with this simple graph. We have to innovate confidently, so with a widespread sense of safety and confidence among workers and also among managers. We have to innovate consistently, so innovation is not just spot activity, one-time activity. It's something that is consistently in the efforts required in terms of resources, human resources, in terms of finance required, and so on. So we have to be consistent. We have to innovate in a careful manner. So we have to innovate carefully. As we were saying, some feasibility analyses are very important in order to look at the best possible innovation that we can drop into our business. Another modalities useful for having success in business innovation is the constant. So we have to innovate in a constant manner with daily activities, daily efforts, mainly dedicated to the innovation of business. Can move on. Okay. Nowadays, we know many leadership styles. So the management texts are full of theoretical management with many types of leadership. But for innovating successfully, we have to employ the correct leadership that can foster the phenomenon of innovation in our business. So in this pyramid, we can observe the real qualities that every innovative leader has to have. Innovative leaders have to foster, have to nurture a passion for innovation and to convey this passion to the other workers, for example. The innovative leader has to possess a long-term perspective. So it clearly refers to the possibility of having profits, but maybe with a long-term approach. Another characteristic of the innovative leader is deep engagement with the innovators. So as we were saying, no closed doors, no gates, no barriers, because the innovative leader has to nurture this culture of deep engagement with the innovators. The innovative leader has to possess the courage to fail and learn from past mistakes, because we can recollect that the innovation process entails also the possibility of failure, but also the option to learn from them, from it, sorry. The innovative leader has to possess also a strong willingness to tolerate mavericks and to defend them from the middle management. So he or she has to defend the innovative ideas from the potential attacks of and critiques of middle management. So I think that reasoning about this slide, I think that the innovation leadership is a kind of cognitive mindset, is a kind of cognitive change that we have to face when we decide to practice a leadership that is completely related, associated with innovation. This is a very bizarre image that I have designed for this lecture. According to the studies that I undertook, it's clear that there are 4 types of innovators every organization needs. The first type of innovators, the first type of worker, we can also say, is the generator type. So this is the person that is strictly connected to reality. He or she is a great observer. He is attached to the current problems in the business domain. So he seeks problems in markets. He seeks for issues in markets. He researches about customer needs, for example, and in this way, he or she generates a new approach, generates new ideas and new concepts to be deployed later, in a later stage. The second type of innovator is a conceptualizer. So it's a guy that wants simply put some boundaries to the creativity that the generator has brought into companies, for example. He wants a stable base. He or she wants a stable basis. He wants a theoretical approach for dealing with the issue researched, for dealing with the new, for example, business needs that are current in the phase of studying, for example. The third type of innovator is the implementer. The implementer guy is someone that that has a very practical sake for solution that he or she can implement. So he wants or she wants to be very specific. He or she wants to put some qualities, some specific characteristics, specific features, in order to be sure that this innovation that we are in the process of bringing into market could have possibility of success for our customer. The fourth type of innovator is the optimizer. The optimizer is a very practical guy. Is a pragmatic, he or she is a pragmatic kind, psychological mindset also. The optimizer wants to be the best, wants to be the programmed results achieved with the innovation finally developed and brought into market. So he or she is a very substantial person, is very ambitious and wants fastly to observe the profitable results of the innovation deployed in this cycle. This slide could seem at first very simple, but I think that it entails also a reflection. Maybe do you ever heard, it's a question, do you ever heard the typical motto that is very frequent in some heinous workplaces, according to which nobody is indispensable? Sometimes we could have heard this type of motto. But for the innovation workplaces, this old and heinous motto has not any reason to exist, because the new motto for the innovative workplaces is that everybody is indispensable, because everybody with specific qualities, specific talents, specific mindset as something unique that has to be inserted in companies for the benefit of companies, but for the benefit sometimes of communities. So I think that this concept of innovation regarding the workplaces, the problems related to some workplaces, as a connotation of inclusiveness that we have to stress nowadays, and we have also to reflect about. This is another framework that regards the innovation, a simple framework that I have designed, I have used in order to show a simple approach for bringing innovation into your companies. The first element to be remembered is the structure. So we have to achieve the right ratio of the innovation styles. Regarding the model, we have to demonstrate the importance of an innovation style top-down, so from the top management to the last worker, for example. Regarding the reward, as leaders, as innovation leaders, we have to create incentives for problem finding. We have to create an environment in which safety, in which novelty and also risk are foreseen. So it's important to create incentives, and not always, not always monetary incentives, but every kind of incentives, professional incentives, educational incentives, how are the good, are some good stuff, some good tools in order to construct a framework of innovation in our companies. Another stage of innovation that we have to remember in this framework, that is called the Smart Innovation Framework, is the training part. So we have to create opportunities, mainly educational opportunities, in order to learn about all styles of management, all style, I think, of work too. So this slide is a slide of summarization, if we can say so, because after all the risks and all the efforts related to innovation for companies, we can also remember the the overall benefits that we can purport in our companies. So innovation is something that permits us to keep processes organized. By being innovative in how you perform processes, you create standards and systematize the best work method for your brand. Thanks to innovation, you can develop creativity. So companies can show that it's open to changes and that employees can tangibly contribute with new ideas, new suggestions, new indications. You can increase the business competitiveness. So by adopting strategic resources, a company becomes more attractive to customers, to partners, to talents, and to investors. By increasing productivity with innovation, we can be sure that more efficient processes, more production control, a successful strategy, and more engaged employees are successfully fostered in innovative environments. We can add the value to a product or service. So through innovation, you boost the marketing of products and services with something different and something that is unique. With innovation, you can increase profits. So with more productivity, a more attractive business, a more effective management, your business will surely see greater profits. This is the last video that I want to show you. It's a funny video. It's a song. It's a song of John Besanto, the leader of innovation that we were talking about. I think that it summarizes, in a certain sense, the innovation culture for every organization. It's very simple and very funny.
So you want to build a culture, it won't happen overnight. Not a matter of simple slogans, be quite clear, get it right. Spell out what it is you're needing, what do you want to see and hear. You want people innovating, so what's the way they do things round here? Start with the seeds that you want planting, prepare your garden row by row, feed them, give them water and sunlight, help to make your garden grow. No point in having lots of good seeds if they fall on stony ground. You gotta start to dig your garden, make it ready all around. Put in a process, train your people, give them a roadmap, lots of tools, feed them plenty of clear direction, they'll do the rest, they ain't no fools. You gotta start with the seed that you want planting, prepare your garden row by row, feed them, give them water and sunlight, help to make your garden grow. When you got your system working, innovation starting to flow, you got to reinforce things, encourage people, let them know, appreciate the work that they're doing, celebrate the things they do, think of how to motivate them, they'll all come back to you. You gotta start with the seed that you want planting, prepare your garden row by row, feed them, give them water and sunlight, help to make your garden grow. So now you've got yourself a garden, you can't sit back and enjoy the view. Might look pretty, but it's just beginning, there's still so much more to do. See this whole thing as a journey, and you've just taken your first steps. Expand your garden, plant some new seeds, trust your people, they'll do the rest. You gotta start with the seed that you want planting, prepare your garden row by row, feed them, give them water and sunlight, help to make your garden grow. You gotta start with the seed that you want planting, prepare your garden row by row, feed them, give them water and sunlight, help to make your garden grow.
So it's a very funny and entertaining video. At first, we can think that it's a simple song, but instead it relates with some meaningful messages about innovation. For example, he told us that we have to nurture our innovation garden. He spoke about seeds, water, sunlight, and other tools that are mostly used in gardening. I'm not an expert. And then he told us that innovation is not just some brilliant slogans to diffuse in our community. Is something more, because innovation is a mindset. You have to open your mind and think with an out-of-the-box mindset, an out-of-the-box approach. And also, it's a daily activity that you have to nurture, you have to share with your workers, with your employees, but also with your community members. So I think that John Besant, a leader in innovation management, has centered the objective in explaining what innovation is and which is the right way in order to deal with innovation in the organization of companies. To wrap up our lecture, in the first module, we have studied the accelerating growth in technology. We have dealt with some definitions of innovation. We have listed the main technological innovations. We have talked about other types of innovation apart from the technological ones. We have pictured a map of innovation. We have talked about 10 criteria to evaluate when choosing a new technology. We have studied the technology innovation cycle, and then we have confronted it with the innovation life cycle. We have talked about the 3 risks of innovation and also 3 reasons why innovation is important for businesses, for modern businesses. In the second module, we have faced innovation with a numerical approach, so innovation in numbers. We have dealt with the main obstacles for innovating in companies. We have talked about the success factors. We have showed the scheme, the arrangement of the ambidextrous organizational structure that is very famous for bringing successful endeavors, successful innovative endeavors. We have talked about the 4 C's of modalities for business innovation. We have talked about a particular leadership that regards innovation, so the innovation leadership. We have studied the 4 types of innovators that every organization needs. We have showed the SMART innovation framework, and we have closed our lecture by remembering the overall benefits of innovation for companies. In the next slides, I indicated some interesting resources, some journal articles that you can read, some books that you can read too, and also some interesting websites with some fascinating resources that pertain innovation management, the innovation management. So many thanks for your attention. I hope that you found this educational pathway interesting, rich, entertaining, funny, why not, and fascinating. And see you at the next lesson.